4 ways in which you are slowing down your manifestations. Hey guys, hope you are well. And in this video, I want to talk about 4 very big ways through which I have seen a lot of people actually delay their manifestation processes. The third and the fourth one are the most common ones and actually the ones that can be prevented the most. So stay till the end. You will understand and learn a lot in this video. And if you actually apply these things in your life, they will have massive results for you. So let's get into it. The first way through which you are potentially slowing down your manifestations is you're still not putting up boundaries for yourself. So let's understand a few basics about the concept of manifestation that I have talked about many times before in my videos and even have discussed in great detail in my self-concept course. But I think that because a lot of people are still new to the content, or I have gotten and gained a lot of recent followers, and I would just like to take a second and thank you all for 6,000 subscribers on YouTube. Every time I'm talking here, I feel that I'm talking to each and every one of you separately. I'm absolutely happy with the kind of response that I'm getting. So thank you for that, and keep following. A lot of great content coming in. So directly to the point, that because I have gained a lot of followers too, a lot of people don't know the same basic concepts that I have discussed before. So I am someone who has discussed this concept previously, that manifestation is not just about affirmations, or manifestations is not just about techniques, right? You have to understand that as a whole, it's not just that you are going to affirm something and magically going to get it. The whole point of affirmations is to introduce the new feelings, introduce the new ideas, introduce the new identity in you. And that identity is not just your thought process, it's your perceptions, it's your actions, and it's your boundaries. A lot of times, and this is one of the most common mistakes that I have seen in the manifestation community with a lot of clients too, is that we start to affirm, we start to visualize, we get into this manifestation journey, and we come into it from a lot of motivation, a lot of confidence, and this hope that we will change our life. We get into it from this level of confidence and we start towards it. But as the journey proceeds forward, we get into a place where we start to see that even though we are affirming, things are not changing. But if you genuinely see and analyze what you truly have been doing, you will realize that it's not just about your affirmations, but the kind of actions that you are taking still remain the same. The kind of boundaries that you have still remain the same. So it is not surprising that you're not getting the kind of results that you want. It's sad, it feels bad, and I understand that you are in this situation. But if you genuinely are open and honest with yourself, then you will also realize that, you know what, if I genuinely see, I'm still the same person, like I'm still taking the same actions, I'm still having the same boundaries. And I know that people have a tendency of getting defensive towards it, because if someone were to say this to me, I would get defensive too. But this is just for you, like it's eventually you who's harming you. It does not really make sense to put yourself into that position, right? I'll give you an example. So I was talking to one of my clients recently, right? She was in a situation where she was involved with a guy and she was manifesting this person back in her life. And they were in a relationship, but after that they separated for some reason. Well, like they had some mutual separation, but this girl wanted a relationship back with him. And as she was focusing on it, the guy reached out, the relationship started, and this guy said that at this moment, I'm not ready to give you commitment. He was not saying I just want a friends with benefits or something, but he was not fully in a situation where he wanted to give the commitment. Now this girl said that, you know what, I'm pretty sure that I want a commitment from you and everything, and said that, it does not make sense for us to talk till the level that there is, like, till the point that there is commitment, because I'm not interested in anything lesser, or I'm not interested in being friends with you. But then every time the guy calls, she talks as if everything is normal. Every time he texts and asks to meet up, she goes to meet up. Her perspective here is that, I am thinking that this is movement, I'm going forward and meeting him, so it means something more. When all it is teaching him, yourself, the universe, subconscious, whatever you want to call it, is that I'm not going to take a stand for myself every time I'm going to be allured with some bigger breadcrumb. So what it is teaching the world is that I value myself and my time so little that every time I will get a slightly bigger breadcrumb, or every time I will get into this situation where I will slightly receive something more, I will lose myself and I will just get involved in that situation again. That's just a self-depreciatory place to be in, because what you're doing is saying something and doing something else. The idea that you are basically having is that I won't have any value for my words, but I hope that the world gives me what I want. That's just unrealistic. Coming to the second point, you give yourself justification for someone else's poor behavior. This is very, very common, and this is a big reason why we keep on delaying our manifestations. The worst part about what this point is that the other person is not even telling you to actually settle. The other person is actually telling you to not settle. But you are the one who is convincing yourself why his poor behavior has something to do about you. I will explain it to you with this help of an example. I recently, again, I will give you a client example. I had a client, right? And she's someone who started getting into manifestation after a lot of trauma from childhood. She had been severely bullied. She did not have a good concept of herself. She had a lot of insecurities, right? Because of which she had difficulty finding any love relationships, and at that time she wasn't really interested. So she got to an age where she wanted a romantic relationship, and her parents started finding some alliances for her. As she found these alliances, there were a few guys that came into her life, right? There was this one particular guy that came with whom she had a few conversations. Now, understand her story. Throughout her life, she has been bullied because of her physical appearance, right? And this guy came into her life and he did not actually deny her physical appearance, instead, accepted her for it. But other than him accepting this physical appearance stuff, he had all the other situations where he was treating her wrong. He was very back and forth. He was not financially in a position where he was able to support her. He was actually asking for money and like there were a lot of situations other than this one particular situation that were going wrong, right? And this guy was also telling this girl that, you know what, I might or might not commit to you. Now, for someone like this, when they come to the concept of manifestation, they can be in a wrong direction of thinking that pursuing this person would be manifestation, when pursuing this person would only be a representation of their insecurity, right? As we are working on her, of course, her desire has transformed. This is why a lot of times when you start working on yourself, your desires can change. This is common. I know you don't want to hear it, but a lot of times that happens, and just because we don't want to hear the truth doesn't mean it changes. I have always been honest about that. Again, I'm not saying that you cannot manifest a specific person. I'm saying a lot of times, like just in this situation, this is not a SP manifestation. This is me choosing this person because a part of me thinks that no one will ever accept me for my physical appearance, because I am the one rejecting myself. But this is where my point comes down to, is that this guy does not even have to justify his bad behavior to this girl. She is justifying his bad behavior to herself by telling herself that no one will ever accept me anyway. So even if this guy is treating me bad, that's completely fine, because at least he's accepting my physical appearance. You see how your past issue and past wounding can come out and actually affect your current decision making process, and how your self concept also affects your current decision making process. That's the second reason why we slow down our manifestations, because as soon as this girl starts focusing on herself, she will start to get to a level where she will attract a quality of guys that will give her everything, and she will also realize that she deserves that. Coming to the third part, not working on the real issue. Now, what this means is, a lot of times we just focus on the branch of the issue, not the core issue in itself. So let's say, again, another example, because examples are the best way to explain. Let's say I'm going to refer to one of my previous clients. Now, this client has successfully manifested her SP and she's in a happy relationship now. I even posted her success story a while back, but I was just recently talking to her. She's having a baby, so we were just discussing a few things, and so she was just, telling me, thanking me and everything. I will, if you guys want, just comment down below. I will try to find her previous video and I will reshare the link somewhere on my Instagram or something. So what happened with this person at that time was that she had a habit that she was in a multiple situation where she had multiple SPs where the same situation used to happen. She used to get overly invested in them. She used to beg for their validation. It didn't used to come. And then she used to feel that, why does this keep happening to me? Then after working on herself a little bit, she used to feel better and instantly used to let go of the SP. But then the same pattern used to repeat with the same person. Now, what she thought she was working on, in her mind, the real issue, according to her, was that these guys are not committing to her. That was not the real issue. The real issue was that she was getting overly attached to these men very, very quickly. So she did not have trouble getting men in her life, because when she was her most authentic self, not obsessed with a guy, men were coming in. But as soon as a guy was coming in, she was consistently assuming the self of her that was allowing desperation in, and she was consistently acting from that. So she was getting results accordingly. So when we started working on her real issue, which was an early attachment towards men, when her specific person came back in her life in that way, she could manifest a relationship, because not because she couldn't do that before, but because in the first place, the reason that she was not getting that was when every time this guy was coming back, she was consistently getting overly attached and sabotaging the relationship, which we could work on, and we could get into a good outcome with it, and could have a happy ending like in that direction. So that's a good thing. So working on the real issue is very important, and identifying a real issue is also very important. I posted my last video is about how to change your beliefs. In there I talk about how to find out the real issue, so you can check that video out. The link is in the description. Coming to the next one and the last one, and this is something that if you are, and this will only be helpful if you're very honest with yourself, assuming you're doing something wrong. Now, this is a very big way through which people delay their manifestations. Let me tell you how we go about it. So, a lot of times, what happens is we are going through a process, we have an intention, we are focusing towards it, and as we are going forward in that journey, there is a slight time delay in the middle, right? But just because there is a time delay, that does not necessarily mean that we are doing something wrong. The issue happens when in the middle part of it we start getting super impatient that there is a time delay, and we start assuming that this time delay means that we are doing something wrong. And then because we are assuming that we are doing something wrong, we start to get into a desperate energy, and we start to look for more and more things to correct, because of which we consistently get into a position where we are unable to actually get the results that we want, because we are consistently sabotaging our manifestations. So if you are someone who feels that I'm focusing on myself, I'm working on myself, I'm focusing on the real issue, I'm also not getting overly attached, I'm changing my actions, boundaries and everything, then have some patience. Patience is the fastest way to manifest, because in those moments, if you practice patience, you will yourself see how fast things will come into your life and how fast you will be able to receive them. So I hope this video helps, and I hope that you guys are going to apply all these tips in your life, and I will see you guys in the next one.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe and share if you like the video. The link for my one-on-one coaching, my self-help courses, and my free newsletter are in the description box below.